step one. So with entrepreneurship, starting a business, I got to tell you, I found that it's not for everybody. It's not. I mean, to be on your own, to take the risk that's involved, and just give you an idea, even when you get larger contracts, there's always this intense fear of, because like for example, Department of Defense may pay me late, okay? Yet I still need to pay my team. I still need to pay my mortgage. I got to take care of my son's private school. I'm not married anymore, unfortunately, you know, but a lot of it had to do with late payments, to deal with the stress that comes from dealing with hard customers. Am I ready to deal with people not paying me on time, or maybe even not paying me at all? Am I okay with dipping into my savings? Am I okay with maybe even possibly even hurting my credit? You know, I don't recommend that, but you know, a lot of people that's what ends up happening. What's my family going to say? What's my wife going to say if my money is going to change? So it's important to really have these talks and think about it, because this is the reality of being an entrepreneur. It's not this kind of really fun, cool lifestyle. It's a lot of hard work, but the flexibility you get with it does allow you to have fun and spend more time with your family, maybe travel more, but there's a lot of work involved. There's also a lot of stress. And so are you able to deal with that? And you gotta really think about it. And I can't stress this enough, because people get into it and they realize they're not paying me on time. What am I gonna do? And then they go out of business. Or maybe I didn't understand what was really involved in having a company, and they go out of business. So as we go through these steps, that's what these steps are for, to help you really know what to expect and then to go through it. Does that make sense so far? Mm-hmm. All right. Step two, you have to consider the size of your company. So if you have a small company, if you only want to make a few $100 a month, that's an entirely different business model than if you want to, you know, leave your job, leave your 9 to 5, and replace your 60 or 80 or $100,000 or $200,000 of income with your own business. The more money you're going to make, usually, unless it's straight digital downloads or something like that, usually you need a team. Usually you need some level of infrastructure, which of course increases your costs, which means that you need to actually make even more money. So think about the size of company you want. Think about how much money you're really trying to make. There's a term called scalability. You've heard of that term before? Yeah. So if you can figure out essentially, okay, here are the things I want to make, or the things I want to do, and here's the core people I need. So maybe you outsource your accounting. Maybe you have a business development or a salesperson. Or maybe that's you as a leader of your company. And then you have a person that maybe handles your operations. And these core people are the folks you need, or that handles your technology. These core people are what you need in order to make a certain number of widgets or a certain number of items that not only sell enough to support that team and pay those expenses, those salaries, but also give you some money, some profit as well. Okay, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that scalability, that figuring out what is like the core that I need in order to grow, that's really, really important. And we'll talk more about that as we go. But the reason why it's important to think about it up front, it's different business models. And as you think about how much money do I really, really need, if you're gonna spend a lot of money in order to build a company that you can only make, you know, let's say $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, but you're gonna take out loans or spend or sell your car or whatever, you know, that return on investment doesn't make any sense. And a lot of people end up doing that and get in these situations where they just kind of go into it, selling things, they're spending a lot of money, using their 9 to 5 income to take care of that, and it just ends up not really making any sense, just because they didn't really think about it. So take the time, consider the size of your company, how much money you want to make, and where do you see yourself going long term. Also, there's nothing wrong with being a part-time entrepreneur. People think of like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, I'm less than or something because I'm only doing this part-time. Let me tell you, if you can pay your bills and take care of your family, at least in my opinion, I think that you're doing okay. And a lot of people start their companies because they want to make extra money. Just, you know, take all that into consideration, your budget, your expenses, and how much you really want to make. Take that into consideration as you plan your company. It'll drive your behaviors. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, next, step 3. What need does your product or service fill? What is its real value? So a mistake that entrepreneurs often make, usually that's when we have to come in and try and fix things, is that they want to provide a service or provide a product that they think people should buy, or that they think that these folks should use. Where instead, you know, and that could be based on ego, it could be based on lack of research or whatever, but instead it really should be based on what customers want and what they need and what they'll pay for. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna go around the room. Tell me where you guys are in your businesses. Who has started a business in the room? All right, very good. And who plans to start a business? Okay, all right, good. Tell me your business.
Into services.
Say again?
Services?
Services?
Yes.
What kind of services?
Handicap services, wheelchair,
Okay.
accessible vans, and the service to do, nursing homes, dialysis.
Okay.
Yes.
So your customer, and so when I say, so you might have different types of customers. You have customers that you provide services to, and then you have your customer that pays you, okay? So who's the customer that pays you? Who pays you?
It depends. If you have directly from Medicare, from the nursing home, it's 45 days payment period.
Exactly.
You have to have money to pay the drivers and pay all this kind of thing. Otherwise, you shut up them.
There you go. And so what if you guys heard of it about? So I mean that concept you just described is usually what makes businesses go out of business. They don't understand that, you know, net 30, net 45, net 60, net 90. That can have a tremendous effect on your, actually that affects your cash flow. And if you're not able to find ways of keeping that cash flow coming in, if you're not finding ways either through credit lines or through other forms of capital to help you to keep paying your bills, you're going to be in trouble. And so, and we'll talk about credit in a little bit, and we'll talk about credit lines and funding in a little bit. So, but thank you for sharing that, brother. I appreciate it. What's your business you want to start?
Well, I'm maybe into the IT field, so I'm looking in the areas of cybersecurity. Yeah, for the fact that security measures is no longer an afterthought. You don't wait until it happens.
Right.
So before you implement or provide IT infrastructure, you have to be proactive by making sure that you have all security measures in place. That's what I'm looking at. Again, that has to do with contractors paying you.
Yes.
The other model that I was also looking at is a cash business. I'm looking at a two-pronged approach, a cash business. A cash business, again, I'm still doing my studies, probably owning a gas station, a 7-Eleven, Subway, stuff like that. So that's something that will continually bring cash in. You don't have to wait until somebody cuts you a check. They come in and they get up, they pay cash right away and move on to the next thing. So those are the two-pronged approach I'm looking at.
Have you looked at the startup costs for each?
Yes, the gentleman that I met a long time ago is helping me to do the number crunching through investment for his part.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Very good. Okay. Good. And do you think that you can do both at the same time, or do you have a plan for rolling one out before the other?
I probably roll one after the other. Maybe start off with the cash business first, and then before I proceed to the next level.
Okay. Very good. Good job. Sir, what about you? What business? Are you planning to start a business, or?
Yet in focus. I have it in focus, but
Okay.
I haven't really structured out any plan in that regards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay you?
Well, I haven't considered all of that. I haven't laid out anything at the moment. Probably these seminar will be. Yeah.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah.
As we go through, I might come back to you later on and ask you, because that question, how do you make money? Who's going to pay you? That is, you know, probably one of the most important questions that you have to be thinking about. And one thing I've learned is that it's, as you have your business, it's very easy to get sidetracked with administrative things, emails, certifications, whatever, which are important. But the core, who's going to pay me? And when are they going to pay me? And how are they going to pay me? You know, why are they going to pay me? All focused on being intentional and making money. That is so important. And so, and that also determines maybe if you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, who's actually going to pay you. It can just determine if, like for example, often people will have an idea and they'll say, well, I want to help these people. I want to provide a service to these people, but these people don't have any money, right? And then they're either, and so then the folks who, and so how are you going to stay open? Well, we're going to get people to give us money. Well, that's not a for-profit business. Sounds like a nonprofit to me. And so, it's just important to, as you build your idea, think about why would somebody pay you for this? What value do you bring? And who is that customer? And do they have money? Because it's very hard, and I don't recommend trying to get money out of people who don't have any money. It's just really, really, really hard.
It's called hustling.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so, brother, what's your business, or what do you plan to set though? Or what do you have now?
Actually, I'm not into business.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming though. Hopefully this will, give us information. It's informative. Sir?
Actually, I'm into accounting. I'm a CPA, of course. It's kind of interesting as I listen to your presentation. I look at all different types of businesses. It can go down from individuals, where I work with doing individual tax returns. I do corporate work. I've done the government work. It's kind of interesting though, because one of the things that you see it kind of stuck out with me, and that is, I have to say I'm a first-generation college student, but in my family, I'm a sixth-generation entrepreneur.
That's awesome.
And so I've seen so many different types of businesses, and I like what you said, being an accountant, guys. It's always, regardless the type of business, it's about money. If you remember that, then the business model will work. It can be small, medium, large, government, not-for-profit, but you have to understand it's about money and who's going to pay you. And so I think that it's, I'm just intrigued as we go through this.
Okay. And please, offer, for all of you guys, as we go through, this is supposed to be interactive. So if I say something you don't agree with, or you have a question, please, chime in, all right?
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Sir?
Yeah, I'm a physical therapist by trade, and we have a practice. And but even prior to the practice, I have a passion for real estate. We bought up some properties and renovated them. Some were sold, some were put some tenants in it. But as my children started getting older and trying to couple it with the practice and then the regular job, it wasn't good for my health. Definitely not good for my health. It's either I'm going to do something or my health will start declining, or I just ignore my children as they're growing. So a decision had to be made. So we kind of decided to sell some of the properties, and then just kind of still have a passion for it, but just kind of put things on the down low until my children get to a certain point in life, so that I can use my time to help it grow them. So right now we just focusing on the practice and then bits of little of whatever is in the real estate, but not as strongly as we used to do it until the children grow up to a certain level, and then we can pick back up.
Okay. Very good. Very good. In the back, sir?
The audio-visual world, audio-visual industry, that's the business I want to embark upon.
Who are your target customers?
For now, I would say the people I interact with, communities that I know who are looking to do like birthday parties, weddings, events. I would say more smaller, not company event, outings or events. So I would say like local family, regular ceremony type events need audio-visual services. So
Why? Why those as opposed to not business?
I would definitely need a bigger team and infrastructure to do more company events. So that could be done, but larger like plan and infrastructure is going to be needed to do something company scale, as opposed to just me and one other person.
Okay, very good, very good. And see what he's describing, the scale of it. and understanding how it fits into your life. That's one of the good things about being an entrepreneur. Like for example, like with me, I'm able to spend a lot of time with my son. You know, he's 9, and you know, for me, that's the most important thing to me. And I try to build a business that allows me that flexibility. So as you think about growing your business, if you can think about like a timeline, how you want it to grow. As you mentioned, as your kids get older, I might do something a little different. That's another important part, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more and further down. But you've hit on something really, really important. It's the benefit of being an entrepreneur and having that flexibility, but also it can also be a downside. Being out on your own. I kind of touched back on step 1, being out on your own, relying on people to pay for you, not having that safety net per se. Just keep those things in mind as you decide planning out your future, your business. Thank you, Sharon, brother. I appreciate that. Sir.
My name is Lonnie. I'm a RF system and microwave engineer. So my business is I provide hardware solutions as well as system engineering services. So I sort of do both.
Any government work?
Customer is DoD.
Oh yeah.
As well as the OEMs, right? Harris's and Lockheed Martin and stuff. A little bit about the business. It's very challenging. You touched on a good point. POs and the agreements, they say net pay 30 days. It's usually not 30 days. It's 45 days, 60 days, which does, you have to have a business gut.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're gonna touch on that. It's something, I don't know how you describe it. It's just there, especially when you're dealing with, and that's, you have to be very dynamic. Payroll's here one day, and you gotta let people go. That's a different challenge in this arena, but that's another thing. You gotta be willing to let people go. And when you set up a business, you always have to. One wise man told me that you never take people on that you can't look at them as if yourself, if you were working there. If you have to give a man a job, he's coming there because he needs a job. It's just like so you have to consider these people's lives.
Yeah.
That's tough. It's a lot easier. I do a lot of, you need someone 1099, right? Right. Sometimes, it's just, you try to negotiate so you maximize profitability. But the biggest challenge that I think I've had when I started deals with you guys' line of work. The accountant, it's so important. Mainly, it keeps you out of trouble with IRS.
Yes.
Right? That IRS nugget could be very challenging, and I'm living it. But other than that, it's just very important that accountant set you up, whether it's an S Corp, LLC, whatever it may be. It's very important, irregardless of the loss. Don't even think about understanding all the loss. Let them do it. That money is well spent. I have to pay my accountant monthly. It's just, I know he's gonna do it. I know he's gonna do it right. And then you watch your yearly taxes. Okay, we're getting better. Eventually you get there, but again, that stomach, man, with a family.
Looking at your bank account, it's 0, and it's the second day of the month. Right? And rent is due, mortgage is due, payroll. Morning, brother. Let me make sure we get you a copy. Okay. All right, very good. But no, thank you for sharing, brother. And we'll talk about that business gut in a little bit too. Sir, do you mind sharing?
He's retired. He's retired. Enjoying life.
No, leave him alone. It's not your turn to talk. He wants to say something. Edward, leave him alone, please. Daddy, go right ahead.
Daddy, go ahead.
I established my company in Nigeria in 1977.
There you go.
So here, we've been in the land derivation and all sorts of things. Whereby the owner of the land pays the fees, specific fees, being given by the government to the board. So when we charge you, you pay advance. Advance, through the advance, we do the execution of the job. After the job, we pay the balance. We are a team of about 8 to 10. Then from there, we get our means of living. But now, about 10 years ago, my son said it's time for me to leave voluntarily with the company, to come and rest in America. So I got here, let my other people continue the job. But the economic, Nigeria economy being crumbled, the company is being folded up, and the partner I have has already gone to Liberia. So my sitting down here is maybe just to have the experience in case to guide others. To compare with the one we have in Nigeria and America, not matter of establishing, but if willingly my children establish a company, they may put me as one of the directors, whereby I can advise. That's why I'm sitting down here.
Good.
Yes.
Good. So please offer any advice as we go. All right. We respect that wisdom. All right. Thank you for sharing, sir.
Yeah, I'm a physician. I have my own medical practice. It's a solo practice. So I could really relate to what Lonnie was saying. It's tough when you work for yourself.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as people think it is. The time I'm spending here now, I'm losing money right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can make this work.
That's very
work
true.
the
Yes,
investment.
yes. But it's what it is. You know, you have to decide what your priority is.
Yes, yes.
And go for it. You know what I mean, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's just nature. So we actually glorify Medicare employees, even though they say it's solo practice. Medicare is one paying.
Yes.
And then Medicare starts paying, Medicare starts paying.
You don't have a practice.
Cash practice.
And you don't have too many of those.
Yeah, so
Your volume is very small with those.
We've had some clients, we helped them with their transfer to digital records and such. And even some folks, we had some folks who did some medical billing, we had to help them get that together, so I'm familiar.
So Lonnie was talking about hiring and letting people go. You know, when you've had a team who work with you, I have an office manager, I have another who does my billing, my wife works for me. It's hard to look at any of them and say, I can't pay you anymore. You have to go. It's very hard. So even months when you can't even take a pay, you have to pay them.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to pay them. That's just the way. You want to say something?
Yeah, well, I guess, once again, I'm the accountant, right? And a sixth generation entrepreneur, I've had physicians, medical, all types of clients, right? And the one thing that my father taught me about business, because one of the hardest things to do is to literally fire your wife, where you know you need the income coming in your house. Plus it also gives them a sense of who they are. But you, the entrepreneur, you have to think of sustainability and going on.
Yeah.
At some point, trust me, in our family we've owned multiple businesses. I have to let my nephew go.
Wow.
My own brother's son, I would have to let him go.
Wow.
Knowing that in order for the business to continue forward, that I may can hire his son 20 years from now. But if I don't, then it'll drive me to closure. And that's where you talked about those guts, those decisions. I commend all of you guys. I'll just say this and I'll let you go on. Small businessman. You know, I started off as a sole practitioner. Think of yourself as part of something big and not the big. Therefore, you can allow people can come in and offer complimentary services that you know could, in your business, could take you in a different direction. You don't want to get distracted. But it could be a cash cow. It could be another stream of service. And that way you build something together. You don't have to be the whole. You can still be your piece and allow other people to come in. I think that in your particular case, what I normally tell people, especially my kids are young too, I have to admit, I cashed out and I put the funds into an estate. But one of the things that I tell people to do in that particular case, if that's truly your passion, then you could do it with very little energy inserted, but then you hire this man to run it and manage it. And those people in real estate would never meet you. They would only meet him. And you deal with him. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a great, theoretically.
No, what, yes.
It's wonderful. You see what you just said?
Yeah.
Theoretically, it's wonderful. We try that. But the problem is that when you hire somebody or when you get somebody to do work for you, trust is a big thing.
Yes.
Trust is a huge, huge thing. So sometimes you, especially when you are starting off, trying to grow something up, and you completely give something to somebody.
Your cash flow statement's a really good tool you can use to look at your month to month, your revenue coming in, your expenses, and it helps you to really plan. Maybe I need to lay people off. Maybe I need to start to train now and hire people in order to be ready for that. So I know we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but think about it. Also, as you start your businesses or grow your businesses, that cash flow statement helps you to also figure out, you know, I'm going to start, let's say next year, what are my 6 months of expenses going to be? My first 6 months. Those first 6 months, if you go for, if you write your business plan and you go for some capital, go for some startup money, that ask may be, okay, I need $300,000 to carry my business through for 6 months. I can start paying you back in month 7 at this amount. But understand, but you won't be able to get that money if you don't have an understanding of how those numbers add up. Okay? I know you guys probably know. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I'm gonna keep going. So step 6. Once you've done all these things, okay? Welcome, brother. Thank you so much for coming. I'm good. 2. All right, 2 more. Very good. Very good. Welcome. Welcome. I should have grabbed a copy right there. We're on step 6. All right. Step 6. So after you've done all these things, talk to your loved ones. So this is like if you're starting your business. So now you've thought about it. You've done research. You know your numbers. You have an idea of how much money you can make. You have an idea of the market. You have an idea of your customers. That's when I recommend talking to your loved ones. So who here is married? All right. So who has people they are responsible for? They got to pay some bills or whatever. All right. So starting your business will have an effect on them. Financially, your time is going to be different. You're probably going to spend a lot of time growing your business. And so when you have that talk, at least, you know, the women that I know, they're going to say, what's up with the money, right? And if you haven't done these things to prepare for that talk, that's going to be a very different conversation, right? It still may be an ugly conversation, but it's an important conversation to have. And I'll tell you, I didn't have this conversation with my wife. I just decided to start. And I had some money saved up, had my 401k, actually cashed out my 401k, you know. Some people say, oh, that's a terrible mistake. But you know what, it's the best I could do at the time. You know, and we're still here. So, so, you know, it is what it is. But I didn't have that conversation with her. About 4 months in, money started running out. I was getting work, but it wasn't enough to take me to be where I was when I worked in corporate America, making a lot of money for somebody. And our relationship changed. Because then I had to ask her to help me on bills. Then we couldn't travel. All those, at that time, Coach bags were the thing. And so I wasn't buying Coach bags. I wasn't buying, you know, because we had a beautiful, I mean, you know, in relation, that's how we measured it at that time. Very beautiful life before. She was, you know, fancy, big house. I had a little sports car. It was, I thought I was a man. Right? And she was proud of what I was doing. But then things changed, and our relationship changed. And I didn't do any of these steps. I just went in because I'm Will Holmes. I can make it happen. I'm gonna work hard. No, I wasn't prepared. So our relationship changed. My money didn't turn up fast enough. And then we separated. because I was, our relationship changed. It wasn't what she agreed to, right? No, I mean, that's what she said. I'm sharing with you.
Right.
I hear you, bro. I hear you.
So,
Appreciate that.
so I want you to make sure you understand that, you know, when you have that talk, that you're prepared, and you can have that talk and say, look, this is what we're looking at. Do you support me? Are we in this together? Because she may tell you no. So, and I'll let you deal with that. Step 7, seek the help of the SBA, Small Business Administration, Small Business Resource Center. They have a very strong program here in Baltimore. Someone in the same business or experienced business consultant to discuss the logic of your business idea. Like I mentioned before, people will say, well, is this a good idea? I don't know until we really run the numbers. And I mean, it's just plain and simple. We don't really ever know. But the thing about step 7, why it's important, is that you talk to people. People are afraid, oh, if I tell people my business idea, they're going to steal it. Unless you have something that is so phenomenal, that's changing the world, nobody probably even cares, right? And you're probably doing something that someone else is doing. But getting that feedback is great. And in fact, what I used to say, and I think it's still valid, you know, talk to business owners, talk to folks who know, get free advice from the SBA and Small Business Resource Center, but also talk to somebody, this may be your wife or your sisters or your brother, talk to somebody who loves you, but is like your greatest critic, who loves poking holes in your little ideas, as they call it, all your little ideas, this, and that, that's not gonna work. Just tell them about it. Because they're going to enjoy trying to find the things that are wrong, and that's good for you. Because when they find the things wrong, you go back and fix it. And then you show it to them again, and they're like, oh, this is. You know, one of the greatest challenges working with so many businesses is that often we don't have friends and family to go to for capital. And often, we're trying to start a company because we need money, and our credit may already be messed up, all right? And so I think, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. So obviously, whatever you can do to keep your credit in order, very, very important. There are a lot of programs now, especially in Baltimore, that are coming out that are not as dependent on your credit, but still, you know, it is usually some kind of requirement. They might want some kind of collateral instead. But all that being said, start to look. If you're at a place where you're thinking about you want to grow, you've done your cash flow statement, you know what you can expect as far as expenses and income coming in. Start to look at some possible sources, because I can tell you that issue with having to wait to pay, waiting for payments, and then that gap between trying to pay your team and pay your own personal expenses. That's where other people who have good credit and who have a history of good credit, who have credit lines and access to capital or whatever, they can go to their dad and get money. Everybody runs into the same situation. It's not like because someone's, a certain place, from a certain place, that they don't run into cash flow issues or people paying up late. It's not that. It's just that they have access to capital. And for us, has been a major hurdle, especially in the last, forever, but especially now as more and more people are starting their companies that are minorities. I think that it's such a huge issue that even the large banks and institutions are saying, okay, we need to do something, not so much to help people out. I think it's just they see an opportunity to make some money. So, but research the funding sources, see what you can do, because you're going to need cash. You're going to need cash to keep your business going. Or you're going to have to let people go. Your choice. Step 11. You need a strong management team, so determine if you need partners or investors, or if you can run the company alone. We touched on this earlier on. And so here's something I'm going to inject, a really important thing. When you bring people on, I'm going to tell you two things with this. When you bring people on, look at them as this is what we need. This is what we need. This is that conversation, interactivity that we need. So once you taking care of your business personal property taxes, you got your letter of good standing, you got that declaration letter from the IRS, you then go to, for one, you want to research banks and see which ones work well with your type of industry, because some banks won't do business with bars or certain restaurants or whatever. They won't give you a loan. And they may let you open an account, but they won't give you a loan. So you're going to research and see which banks actually work well with your industry. Open up your business account. And then you'll need that letter of good standing, letter from the IRS. They may ask you for other documentation as well, some articles or something. But just make sure you research that properly. And also see which one has the best benefits for small business. Step 22, online accounting, payroll invoicing systems. These are some of the ones that I use. I actually use Wave Apps as a free tool that sucks in all my transactions from my business, checking accounts and credit cards and all that. And then I have to categorize them to say this is meals and entertainment, this is whatever. And then my accountant goes in on the back end and does my taxes. But it gives me year-to-date, like really real-time, where I did inflation to last year. It has financial statements, balance sheets, all that stuff, and all that's free. The way that Wave Apps makes money is really just you have to use their invoicing or their payment systems. But I highly recommend that. I'm definitely going to refer to the accountant when he talks. He can talk about maybe some other options. Step 23, a customer database, point of sale system. You may not need a point of sale because you're not brick and mortar, but you should definitely have a way to take money and get money from customers. A database is where you keep your customers, all their information. I recommend a place where you can keep it, where you can keep notes on your contacts with them, also attempts to reach them. You can segment the data so that you can say, okay, these are potential customers, these are existing customers, these are past customers. So when you email them, you can have special messaging that's directed to each segment of customer. Really important for your marketing. Step 24. So usually people, what they actually do is they do a business card first. I got a business idea, boom, business card, right? The reason I say wait, I recommend waiting until you've done all these steps, is that you may think, oh, my customer is women, so I'm going to have pink business cards and all this stuff, right? But once you've done this research, you'll realize, you know what, maybe it's actually like older men. They really want this kind of service or whatever, and they may not like pink. So taking the time to figure out all these things first, then do all your branding, because you have a really good understanding of what your customer wants and needs. It's going to make your marketing a lot better. And also, you want to go back and keep switching around and changing it. So then do your branding, website, social media, business cards. I recommend collecting your CRM, your customer database, to your website, so when people do a contact.
So what's CRM?
Oh, I'm sorry, customer relationship management system.
Yeah.
It's like a customer database where you can store all that information. And if you connect it to your website, when people go into your website, they say, hey, call me. It goes into your CRM, and it lets you save that data, and you can then assign it to people for follow-up and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of these CRMs are free, or maybe 12 or 15 bucks a month per user. Very inexpensive, but absolutely essential for any kind of marketing or data management. Step 25, get a Dmv number, especially if you're going to try to establish business credit or do some work with the government. You got to have it. It's like a social security number for your business in a sense. If you don't have one already, if you have a business, you've been in business for a while, they have a connection to the IRS, so you actually might already have a Dmv number. So if you've never heard of this before, don't try and, if you've been in business a while, don't try and just start one. Contact them, see if they already have one for you, and then they'll give that to you for free. You don't have to pay any money. Step 26, make sure you review. So you've done all this research before, but just make sure you didn't miss anything. Review your local, state, and federal regulations. Purchase proper business insurance. Here's some connections, some links there. Step 27, you're about to open up, you're about to get started. You talk to your customers, now it's time to finalize your strategy, triple check your expenses, manage opening day projects, finalize credit lines and capital, apply for funding if needed. Step 28, you wrote your business plan. Actually, I talked about that a little earlier on, but you've written your business plan. Now is the time to really implement everything that you figured out. Your metrics, your sales goals, standard operating procedures, we touched on that. And then you have to be intentional, we talked about earlier, be intentional about making money. You have to, one of the best things, that a piece of advice I ever got was, first thing you do is you work on the thing that gives you the most amount of money the fastest. Then the second amount of money, the second fastest. Third amount of money, the third fastest. After you've made your money for the day, then read your emails, follow up on phone calls. That stuff will wait. But you gotta make money every day, be intentional. And so following that and doing that every day, and of course, hiring people as you need to, at 12, 15, 20 bucks an hour to handle that administrative stuff. Step 29, you can't just it's easy to just be by yourself all the time and be in a silo, like just not talking to people. You gotta get out, you gotta network, you gotta expand your social circle, you gotta talk and meet other people. You gotta have fellowship like this because this is how we share ideas, this is how we grow. There are also some great, like I'm in the Baltimore City Chamber of Commerce, I'm on the board. I definitely invite you guys to join us. I mean, that group, all the groups I've ever been a part of, folks there are in business, they're making money. Hey, I need somebody to do this. Hey, I'm hiring. It's like folks in that group are all entrepreneurs, they're all making money, and they're serious. It's probably the best group I've ever been in relation to like, for networking. So, whatever your local chamber is, I recommend getting involved. Also reading the Baltimore Business Journal, the Daily Record, getting the book of lists from BBJ. All those things help you to really just stay involved and know what's going on in your city. And then step 30, stay away from negative people. They will try and tear you down, take your ideas, tell you can't do it. No matter how strong your faith is, you have a person that you love and you care about, but they are just angry. It's hard. It's very, very hard. So I've learned to protect my time. I don't let anybody take away my time, and I don't want to lose money on Saturday, but I protect my time, I protect my money, I protect my resources because it's up to me to do that. People are going to try and take from you all the time. They're trying to they're trying to beat you down. They're upset. They're depressed. They want you to stay down there with them. Stay away from them. Stay away. If you can help them in some kind of way, fine, but stay away from them because they will hurt your business. And so, also, I do recommend finding people who are further along down the road to help guide you, makes your way a lot easier. Usually there's nothing new under the sun, even some new high technical stuff. Usually something like that has happened before. Somebody has done it, has some information. But those are the 30 steps. I appreciate you guys sticking in there, listening to me for an hour and a half. And that's it. Any questions?